All the business advice we see online has a big problem. And do you know what it is? Look at all the different statements that we see online. How I work. I sit down at my desk, I write some LinkedIn posts, I write my weekly newsletter, then I am done for the day. Or what about this as an example? I make 6 figures without any social media. Here's how I do it. You need your evergreen funnel. I'm a sustainable service-based business owner that doesn't have an email list. The big problem, all of this advice is lumped together, no matter if you're a startup, if you're a service-based business, if you are an influencer, if you are a creator, if you're a freelancer, if you're an agency owner. None of this advice distinguishes. It all lumps it together into generic advice where if you implement something that's not meant for your business model, you're going to be wasting time, energy, and probably a lot of money using tactics that are not designed for your type of business. But the advice online doesn't distinguish that. So in this video, we're going to look at the 3 different types of business models meant for knowledge-based businesses and where you should be focusing your business building time and attention. So let's talk about the 3 different business models meant for knowledge-based businesses. These are business models where you're not selling a software subscription to companies or where you're not selling a physical product to end consumers. We are selling our knowledge through either services, content, or by being a personality. So let's dive in. Business model 1 is the delivery-based businesses. These are what you might have described as service-based businesses. In this model, we are focused on delivering a service either through yourself or through your team. Business model 2 is the creator model, where you're essentially monetizing content. Creator model businesses focus on creating and distributing and monetizing content around a point of view. This is the primary business model you'll see with online influencers, speakers, course creators, digital product creators, or even I consider large groups, communities, and teaching. The final business model is what we call the brand model, where you've productized your service or you've started to scale up your creator-based business. So instead of actually delivering the services or the products to an end consumer, you're licensing your IP or you're certifying others to deliver in that method. So instead of working with clients directly to deliver a service, say storytelling and marketing, you are certifying practitioners in your method. Instead of doing Notion or other system buildouts, you are certifying others to deliver your course. So again, we think about that as a turnkey model where you're no longer making the money from selling your service or selling the content. You are making money from certifying or licensing your business model for others. So that's the general framework. We've got delivery models that focus on delivering a service. We've got creator models that focus on monetizing around content through usually asynchronous type means. And then we've got the brand models, which is systematizing and delivering that as a licensee or as a certification model. So let's dive into the delivery-based businesses. There are 3 archetypes that I've seen within these delivery-based businesses. The first archetype is the craftsman. You pride yourself on delivering a craft. You enjoy doing the work your clients hire you for, or perhaps you don't want to or can't move that work to an additional person. So you work often solo. So for example, this might be a ghostwriter. This might be a copywriter. This might be a graphic designer, a video editor, a VA, or online business manager. This is a web designer. Again, you are delivering a craft and you do that as a soloist. You might outsource parts of your backend, accounting, your own marketing, but again, you are the primary face of your clients. We then move to the advisor model. In the advisor model, you are still primarily working one-on-one with clients, but instead of doing the delivery work, such as writing web copy or doing accounting, you are working primarily as a strategist, as an advisor. This allows you to work, again, in the more strategic parts of the client transformation journey, providing high-level vision, providing strategy, not necessarily doing the hands-on implementation work, unless that's part of your project. At this point, you are working with slightly more clients, but you are working with them at potentially fewer number of hours and potentially a higher price point per hour. This might be a financial advisor versus a bookkeeper. This is a one-on-one coach or consultant, and a marketing strategist versus someone that is a marketing delivery execution practitioner. And kind of the culmination of the delivery models is the agency model, where instead of working as a craftsman or instead of working as an advisor, you are actually building a team of practitioners under you to deliver that service. You may retain the strategic insights. You may retain the client relationship management, though that is optional. You could even scale further up the agency side and decide to become more of a rainmaker type where you don't do any delivery. You're just the face of the brand. But ultimately, you are delivering not through yourself, but you're delivering through a team. In this case, your role shifts instead of doing client delivery work to developing your firm's intellectual property, client strategy development, business development, and ultimately stewarding a team, ensuring that your service is delivered on time, on quality, and on cost. For example, this is a consulting firm. This is a financial services firm. This is a podcast production agency. This is PR, marketing agencies. Again, in all the delivery-based models, what we see is in common is that there's a relatively smaller number of clients. We're not working with hundreds unless you have a really big agency. You might be working with a craftsman, you might be working with one client a year. The advisor, you might be working with a handful of clients a year. The agency, you need more clients or you need much bigger projects because you now have to support a team. But ultimately, you're probably not working with more than 40 to 50 clients in a given year, no matter any of these models. So again, this is the delivery-based model. Some of the advantages of the delivery-based models. You can be profitable without a large following. You can make couple $100,000 by working with 5 to 10 clients, by being very niche. You don't have to do as much content marketing. You do not have to be omnipresent on social media. You actually get to focus on the skill and the craft of what you're doing and not focus on being marketers. You see these big coaches, they actually had to commoditize all of their knowledge and they don't actually get to work hands-on with clients anymore. They are simply marketers delivering a course. That may be something you want to do, or you may decide, I actually want to do the work that I set out on my small business to do. Some of the disadvantages, though, is that there can be a limit to your income based on capacity unless you are able to raise your prices or think about building and scaling a team. Again, there's an illusion of limit because we can break through that through alternative revenue streams, but there sometimes is a limit when you're starting out. You do have to market while you're doing the delivery. So again, you can outsource some of the delivery parts. You can outsource some of your back end, but as long as you're in a service-based business doing delivery work, someone's going to have to manage said service and deliver said service. And it does require delivery time, AKA time for dollars. Again, it's not a hard and fast rule, but they are paying for a service. And so either you or your team member have to deliver said service. And then taking time off does require some foresight. This is not a model where you can go sit on a beach and watch the bennies roll in through your Stripe account while doing nothing. Like, this is a model where you have to actually do some delivery. But as we get to the creator model, there are downsides to that as well. So we've covered the delivery-based models. Let's talk about the creator-based models. And again, there are 3. Model 1 is the gatherer. You live for bringing people together and forming relationships among your community members. This could be in an actual membership or community. This could be through events. This could be through retreats. Again, you may offer courses and content as part of your community, but the community is the focus. And it's, again, a many-to-many model, member-to-member model, not necessarily a hub-and-spoke student-to-teacher model. We have the teacher model. This is where we see a lot of creators spend their time monetizing through either asynchronous content like ebooks and courses, self-guided courses, or through live teaching where it's a mastermind or a live cohort-based course. And some other content things we see, templates, tools, content-only memberships. These models are fantastic for expertise-based businesses, but part of it is, again, the more these are one-time purchases, the more volume you're going to need. And then finally, you may be the edutainer, which is where you make your money by growing your audience and monetizing through sponsorships, advertisements, affiliate revenue, books, paid content, and speaking. Maybe you might have a book, you might have a course, but your way you really make money is by getting paid 25 grand a speaking engagement, and you do 2 speaking engagements a week for 50 weeks of the year. So some examples of this include keynote speakers, monetizing YouTube channel, monetizing video, audio, written content through ads, getting affiliate revenue, getting sponsorships, getting brand partnerships, or user donations through like a Substack or a Patreon. These are the models where you're creating a point of view, you're creating content around that, and you're either selling the community surrounding that content or you're selling the content itself. So some advantages of this model. Your revenue does not correlate as tightly to time spent working on client deliverables. We're going to talk about the fact that your time is spent unpaid in creating some of these assets that you're selling. There can be a higher diversification of revenue streams. So you could be making money through a membership. You could be making money through digital courses and sponsorships and affiliate partnerships and direct monetization off of YouTube. So there's a fair amount of diversification. You can impact a larger number of people. So instead of working with 5 to 20 clients in the delivery-based models, you might have a YouTube audience of 1 million subscribers. Some of the disadvantages is marketing and audience growth becomes your number one time and skill set. You have to be able to reach large numbers of people and then move them smoothly through some kind of automated marketing sequence in order for them to buy for you. You don't have enough time in order to sell for large volumes of people that are going to make your income up. It can be a much longer road to sustainable revenue because, again, you are not getting paid for delivering a service. You have to build something and build an audience before you get paid. Consider your time to cash in your business model. Here's a secret: evergreen isn't really evergreen. The algorithms change, consumer sentiment changes. You will always have to be, if you're good at this and you want to keep making money over the long term, you're always going to have to be adjusting what you're selling and how you're selling it, what tools you're using, what messages you're using, and how you're thinking about the customer journey, adding things potentially on the lifetime journey in order to keep revenue going. Because you may see something in the market where your product shoots off like a weed and you're getting some triage, and then that opportunity dries up. And then higher numbers of people does mean higher exposure. Tim Ferriss talks about this, that when he got famous, the trolls started coming out, and there is a real price to fame. So there's no right or wrong business model. We see disadvantages and advantages with the delivery-based model and disadvantages and advantages with the creator-based model. But it's important to know which is your primary business model, and even within those models, what are you running? Because that will help you know where you should spend your time and energy. So how did these models differ? They differ on 4 different areas: marketing and sales, profit, time, and impact. Today, we're not going to go in depth in all of these. These will be future videos, but we'll talk about the differences. Marketing and sales. With the delivery-based models, again, you're working with fewer people. There's usually more of a relationship. So we're going to be using relationship marketing mechanisms. If we're running a creator-based business, we have got to have our marketing and sales running pretty large volumes of people through our systems where there's not a lot of interaction and people are propelled through the journey, because we need that volume. We need people to become a subscriber. We need people to be on our email list. We need them to buy off of a sales page. And usually they're not having a lot of interaction with us through that journey. 2 very different marketing and sales techniques. Profit. If you are a delivery-based model, you might not need to spend quite as much time on marketing and sales expenses. You may not need a huge team. But if you are on the creator side of the business, again, you're going to need to spend more money potentially on marketing. But you may not need to spend quite as much on a team because, again, you have some time that you're not doing client deliverables to potentially be running your business on your own. Time. If you are delivering a service to clients, if you're running a delivery-based business, about 50% of your time is going to be spent on delivery. Now, you don't need to spend as much time marketing because you don't need as many people in that funnel, but you're going to be spending probably about half of your time delivering to clients. And if you're on the creator side of the house, you're not doing as much time delivering, but you still have a lot of time spent building assets, building technology, and marketing. And again, the impact. We think about impact reaching and touching thousands of people, but when you work in a delivery-based business, you intimately know most of your customers and you get to see witness their transformation over time because you are working with a limited number. When you're working in the creator-based model, you might reach thousands or millions, but you may not know the personal impact that you're having on them because, again, it's more of that parasocial relationship. Not right, not wrong. There's just simply differences. So if you are running a creator-based business, you'll want to make sure you are dialed in on the mechanics of running that business. But if you're running a delivery-based business, a service-based business, you may not need to have the crazy social media presence. You may not need to have vanity metrics, the viral followers. You may be able to retain more of your profit because you're not having to spend as much time on marketing, even though that profit may, in some cases, be less scalable and less decoupled from your time than the creator-based model. But again, it's really important. First, start with knowing your business model. What happens if you have more than one business model? You're like, I'm doing this, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing that, and I'm doing that. Every different model has a different set of business building principles within it. So I ask you, if you're running multiple types of business models, each of those comes with a fracturing of your time and attention and potentially additional expenses. So as you're thinking about the fact that you have a hybrid business model, ask yourself, how many of these business models can I sustainably run profitably and with the right mental capacity to manage all these business models? You may find that some may need to be put on the back burner while you get stability in your core business models. In our next video, we are going to talk even more about the buckets of profit and how those change based on the type of business model you run. See you in the next video.